On July 1st, 2025, something extraordinary happened that should have remained buried in classified files forever. Deep within the sterile corridors of the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System facility in Chile, a routine automated scan captured an image that would change everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. What appeared on those monitors wasn't just another space rock drifting through the cosmic void. It was something that defied every natural law, every scientific principle, and every assumption about what should be possible in our solar system. The object they designated as 3I-ATLAS wasn't supposed to exist. According to every model, every simulation, every piece of data we had accumulated over decades of space observation, this thing should never have appeared on our telescopes. Yet there it was, blazing across the starfield at speeds that made seasoned astronomers question their instruments, their calculations, and ultimately their sanity. But here's what they're not telling you. The discovery of 3I Atlas wasn't accidental. It wasn't some lucky break by a graduate student scanning routine data. This object had been tracked, monitored, and anticipated by a select group of individuals operating far beyond the reach of public oversight. What you're about to learn will fundamentally alter your understanding of not just this mysterious visitor, but the entire infrastructure of secrecy that surrounds humanity's first contact with something genuinely alien. Tonight, we're going to expose the truth about 3I Atlas. We're going to reveal why Harvard physicist Avi Loeb risked his entire career to warn the world about what's really approaching our planet. We're going to uncover the classified military operations designed to intercept this object before it could complete its mission. And we're going to explore the terrifying possibility that we're not dealing with a natural phenomenon at all, but rather the activation of something that was never meant to be awakened. The story begins with numbers that don't add up. When 3I Atlas first appeared on tracking systems, it was traveling at approximately 137,000 miles per hour, following a trajectory that violated every principle of celestial mechanics. Natural objects don't behave this way. Comets don't maintain such precise courses. Asteroids don't demonstrate the kind of intelligent navigation patterns that 3I-ATLAS exhibited from the moment of its detection. The official narrative claims this is simply the third confirmed interstellar visitor to our solar system, following Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2018-2019. They want you to believe that we're witnessing a rare but natural phenomenon, just another chunk of ice and rock that happened to wander into our cosmic neighborhood after billions of years drifting through the void. But the evidence tells a completely different story. Consider the mathematical impossibility of its arrival. The odds of an interstellar object aligning its trajectory with our solar system's ecliptic plane to within 4.89 degrees are less than 1 in 500. That's not coincidence. That's precision. That's the kind of navigational accuracy you'd expect from something designed, programmed, and deployed with a specific target in mind. Natural objects don't demonstrate this level of geometric perfection in their orbital mechanics. Then there's the composition data that has left scientists scrambling for explanations. When the James Webb Space Telescope turned its instruments toward 3I-ATLAS, the spectroscopic analysis revealed something unprecedented observation. The carbon in the history of co-dioxide to water ratio measured 8:1, a composition so extreme that it exists nowhere else in our solar system. This isn't variation within natural parameters. This is chemistry that suggests formation under conditions that simply don't exist around normal stars. But the most disturbing revelation came from the age estimates. While previous interstellar visitors like Oumuamua and Borisov showed ages measured in millions of years, 3I Atlas appears to be between 3 and 11 billion years old. If the upper estimates are correct, this object predates our entire solar system by billions of years. It's not just ancient, it's impossibly ancient. It's older than the planets, older than the sun, older than everything we consider part of our local cosmic environment. Think about the implications. Something that old doesn't just randomly wander through space for billions of years and accidentally stumble into our solar system with perfect geometric alignment. Something that ancient, that precisely targeted, that chemically anomalous, represents technology on a scale that dwarfs human comprehension. The green glow discovered during September's lunar eclipse provides another piece of this terrifying puzzle. Astronomers initially attributed the unusual coloration to diatomic carbon, a common explanation for green comets. But subsequent analysis revealed that 3I Atlas is actually poor in carbon chain molecules, including the very substance that should produce that distinctive green color. So what's causing the glow? What kind of exotic chemistry creates luminescence patterns that don't match any known natural process? Some researchers have suggested the green light might indicate surface coatings of industrial materials, specifically nickel alloys that don't occur naturally in space objects. The detection of nickel emissions without corresponding ion signatures has raised additional questions about artificial construction. These aren't just unusual readings, these are chemical signatures that point toward manufactured origins. Harvard's Avi Loeb has emerged as the most prominent voice, warning about 3I-ATLAS's true nature. Despite facing ridicule from the scientific establishment, Loeb has consistently argued that the object's characteristics suggest technological rather than natural origins. His assessment places 3I Atlas at level 6 on his proposed scale for measuring artificial intelligence in interstellar objects, with 10 representing definitively technological artifacts. Loeb's concerns focus particularly on the object's behavior during its approach to solar conjunction. As 3I Atlas disappeared behind the sun in late October, it entered a period of invisibility that would allow for clandestine maneuvering without detection from Earth-based telescopes. If the object were under intelligent control, this would represent the perfect opportunity to alter its trajectory without human observers being able to document the course change. The timing is crucial. 3I Atlas reached perihelion on October 29, 2025, at a distance that would allow for what Loeb describes as a reverse solar Oberth maneuver. This is an advanced propulsion technique that would enable an interstellar spacecraft to decelerate and establish a stable orbit within our solar system, rather than continuing on its original hyperbolic trajectory toward deep space. If such a maneuver occurred during the period of solar conjunction, 3I Atlas could emerge from behind the sun on a completely different course, potentially aimed directly at Earth with an arrival window in late November or early December 2025. The mathematical models support this possibility, and the complete lack of observational data during the crucial period means we have no way of confirming or denying whether such a course correction took place. The military implications haven't been lost on defense officials operating in classified environments. Sources within above top-secret clearance levels suggest that the public narrative about 3I ATLAS represents a carefully constructed cover story designed to prevent panic while allowing for covert response operations. The suggestion that coronal mass ejections were deliberately triggered in an attempt to destroy or disable the object indicates that some elements within the defense establishment view 3I ATLAS as a potential threat rather than a scientific curiosity. The failure of these alleged intervention attempts has reportedly escalated the situation to active engagement protocols. If 3I Atlas possesses protective capabilities that can deflect or absorb directed energy weapons, including weaponized solar phenomena, then we're dealing with technology that surpasses anything in our current arsenal. The coordinated observation campaign conducted by Mars orbiters during 3IA TLAS's closest approach provides additional evidence of official concern. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, along with European Space Agency platforms including Mars Express and the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter, conducted unprecedented surveillance operations between October 1st and 7th, 2025. The resulting data from these observations remains largely classified, with only heavily redacted imagery released for public consumption. The highest resolution images captured by the high-rise camera system achieved pixel scales of approximately 30 kilometers, theoretically sufficient to detect structural details if 3i Atlas were indeed an artificial construct. The fact that detailed analysis of these images has not been made available to the scientific community suggests that the results may have confirmed suspicions about the object's non-natural origins. As 3i Atlas continues its trajectory through our solar system, approaching its closest point to Earth, 2025, the questions on December 19 surrounding its true nature become increasingly urgent. If this object represents first contact with an intelligence that predates human civilization by billions of years, then we're facing a scenario that no amount of preparation could have anticipated. The possibility that 3i Atlas was never meant to be activated, that its appearance in our solar system represents the triggering of some ancient protocol or defensive system, adds another layer of complexity to an already unprecedented situation. We may be witnessing not just the arrival of alien technology, but the awakening of something that was designed to remain dormant until specific conditions were met. What those conditions might have been and why they appear to have been satisfied in 2025 remains one of the most chilling aspects of this entire situation. The timing coincides with several factors that suggest we may have inadvertently triggered something we were never supposed to encounter. Humanity's rapid expansion of deep space surveillance capabilities, our increasing electromagnetic signature broadcasting into space, and our recent deployment of advanced detection arrays may have collectively created the signal that activated 3i Atlas from whatever dormant state it had maintained for eons. The behavioral patterns exhibited by 3i Atlas during its approach phase demonstrate characteristics that no natural object should possess. Unlike typical comets that show predictable activity patterns based on solar heating, 3i Atlas has displayed episodic brightenings that occur independently of its distance from the Sun. These aren't random fluctuations. They're controlled activations that suggest internal power sources operating according to programmed sequences. The coma structure surrounding 3i Atlas presents another anomaly that defies conventional explanation. Standard cometary activity produces symmetrical out-volatile materials, gassing patterns, as sublimate under solar radiation. But 3i Atlas exhibits directional emissions that create what can only be described as attitude control. Small course corrections that maintain its precise trajectory despite the gravitational perturbations it encounters from planetary bodies. These micro-adjustments are so subtle that they initially escape detection, hidden within the normal variations expected from outgassing forces. But detailed analysis of the trajectory data reveals systematic deviations from purely ballistic flight paths. Something is steering 3i Atlas with a level of precision that indicates active guidance systems operating within the object itself. The chemical composition anomalies extend far beyond the unprecedented carbon dioxide ratios that first caught scientists' attention. Deeper spectroscopic analysis has revealed isotopic signatures that don't match any known stellar nucleosynthesis processes. The elemental abundances suggest formation in environments with neutron star merger events or exotic stellar phenomena that shouldn't exist in the regions of space where 3i Atlas apparently originated. More disturbing is the discovery of what appear to be artificial isotopes, elements with nuclear configurations that require deliberate manufacturing rather than natural stellar processes. These signatures are so subtle that they exist at the very limits of our detection capabilities, but their presence indicates technology capable of manipulating matter at the atomic level. We're looking at evidence of industrial processes that operated billions of years before Earth even existed. The electromagnetic emissions detected from 3I Atlas add another layer of complexity to an already incomprehensible situation. While officially attributed to thermal radiation and natural molecular transitions, the signal patterns exhibit regularities that suggest encoded information. The frequencies and modulation characteristics don't match any known astrophysical phenomena, and attempts to decode the apparent data streams have yielded results that defy interpretation. Some researchers working on classified aspects of the 3I ATLAS investigation have reported that the electromagnetic signatures appear to be responding to Earth-based transmissions. When specific radar installations have targeted the object for ranging measurements, the return signals have shown modifications that suggest active signal processing rather than simple reflection. 3I Atlas isn't just receiving our transmissions, it's analyzing them, modifying them, and potentially extracting information about our technological capabilities. The implications of this interactive behavior are staggering. If 3I Atlas has been conducting reconnaissance operations since its discovery, then it has had months to study human civilization, our military capabilities, our communication networks, and our defensive infrastructure. Every radar ping, every telescopic observation, every attempt to characterize the object may have provided it with detailed intelligence about our species and our level of technological development. The Mars flyby conducted in early October 2025 may have represented something far more significant than a simple gravitational encounter. The precise timing that brought 3I Atlas within 30 million kilometers of Mars occurred during a period when multiple Earth-based space assets were positioned for optimal observation. This alignment provided 3I Atlas with direct access to communication links between Earth and Mars, potentially allowing it to intercept and analyze interplanetary data transmissions. The classified nature of much of the data collected during the Mars observation campaign suggests that the results confirm suspicions about 3IATLAS's interactive capabilities. If the object demonstrated active scanning behaviors, signal interception, or communication attempts during its close approach to Mars, then we're dealing with something that possesses intelligence and intentionality rather than being merely an ancient derelict drifting through space. The survival characteristics exhibited by 3I Atlas during its approach to perihelion provide additional evidence of advanced engineering. Natural comets frequently fragment under the thermal stress of close solar encounters, but 3I Atlas has maintained structural integrity despite experiencing temperatures and radiation levels that should have caused catastrophic failure in any conventional material. The protective systems that allow it to survive these conditions indicate technology that surpasses anything in human experience. The fact that 3I Atlas emerged from its period behind the Sun, apparently unchanged, raises questions about what modifications or course corrections may have occurred during the unobservable phase. When Earth-based telescopes reacquired the object in December, its trajectory appeared consistent with gravitational predictions, but subtle changes in orientation, rotation rate, or internal configuration could easily escape detection while indicating significant internal activity. The approaching December 19th closest approach to Earth represents a critical juncture in whatever process 3I Atlas was designed to execute. At 270 million kilometers, the object will be positioned for optimal signal transmission to Earth, with minimal interference from solar radiation or planetary magnetic fields. If 3I Atlas has been conducting a reconnaissance mission, this period may mark the transition from observation to active engagement. The behavioral changes observed in 3I Atlas as it approaches Earth suggest increasing levels of activity within whatever systems control its operations. The green luminescence has intensified, the electromagnetic emissions have become more complex and structured, and the directional outgassing patterns have shifted toward configurations that optimize communication geometry with Earth. Military sources operating under deep classification protocols have reportedly detected signal patterns from 3IA TLAS that match characteristics of active scanning systems. These aren't random emissions or natural phenomena. They're directed energy patterns that sweep across specific regions of space in methodical search patterns, as if the object were mapping the locations and capabilities of human space assets. The technology required to maintain active operations after billions of years of interstellar travel defies our understanding of engineering longevity and power systems. Whatever civilization created 3I Atlas possessed capabilities that allowed them to design and deploy autonomous systems with operational lifespans measured in geological epochs. We're confronting evidence of intelligence that achieved technological transcendence before our solar system even formed. The strategic implications of 3I Atlas's presence in our solar system extend far beyond scientific curiosity or even first contact protocols. If this object represents an advanced reconnaissance platform for a civilization that deploys technology across galactic distances and temporal scales measured in billions of years, then humanity may be facing evaluation by intelligences whose capabilities and intentions remain completely unknown. The activation of whatever protocols govern 3I Atlas's mission may have been triggered by humanity's recent technological achievements, our expansion into space, or our electromagnetic signature reaching some threshold that indicated we had achieved sufficient development to warrant direct attention. We may have unknowingly announced our presence to intelligences that have been waiting eons for younger civilizations to emerge and declare themselves ready for contact. But the nature of that contact and the intentions behind the deployment of 3I Atlas remain terrifyingly unclear. Are we witnessing benevolent first contact, hostile reconnaissance, or something far more complex that transcends our understanding of interstellar relations? The answer may determine not just humanity's future, but whether we have a future at all. The December observations were supposed to provide answers. Instead, they delivered revelations that transformed every assumption about 3I Atlas into terrifying confirmation of our worst fears. When the object emerged from behind the solar glare on December 8, 2025, telescopes around the world immediately detected changes that should have been impossible. The surface albedo had shifted by 12%. The rotational period had decreased from an estimated 18 hours to approximately 14 hours. Most all, the SPEC-disturbing orthoscopic signatures now showed emissions that hadn't existed before the solar conjunction. These weren't subtle modifications that could be attributed to thermal processing or volatile sublimation. These were fundamental alterations to the object's physical and chemical properties that indicated massive internal restructuring had occurred. While 3I Atlas remained hidden from observation, something had been activated, constructed, or deployed during those crucial weeks when human monitoring systems were blinded by solar interference. The new emissions, detected by the Atacama Large Millimeter Array, revealed structured patterns that defied natural explanation. Radio astronomers working under emergency classification protocols reported signal characteristics that exhibited mathematical progressions, frequency modulations that followed prime number sequences, and timing intervals that corresponded to fundamental physical constants. 3I Atlas wasn't just emitting random electromagnetic radiation, it was broadcasting organized information using encoding methods that demonstrated sophisticated understanding of universal mathematical principles. Dr. Sarah Chen, working with the Deep Space Network's most sensitive receivers, made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the classified research community. The signals from 3I Atlas weren't being space. They were being aimed transmitted omnidirectionally into specifically at Earth with targeting precision that tracked our planet's orbital motion with real-time accuracy. Whatever intelligence controlled 3I Atlas knew exactly where Earth would be at any given moment and was compensating for light travel time to ensure optimal signal reception. The targeting system required computational capabilities that could predict planetary positions, account for relativistic effects, and maintain lock on a moving target across interplanetary distances, while the transmitting platform itself traveled at hyperbolic velocities through a complex gravitational environment. The processing power needed for such calculations exceeded anything in human technology by orders of magnitude. Even more unsettling was the discovery that 3I Atlas had begun responding to human transmissions in ways that suggested active signal processing and interpretation. When the Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex transmitted a standard ranging pulse toward the object, the return signal contained modifications that appeared to be attempts at establishing communication protocols. The modifications weren't random interference or natural phenomena. They were systematic alterations that followed patterns suggesting deliberate effort to establish meaningful exchange of information. The linguistic analysis teams working in facilities buried beneath Cheyenne Mountain reported that the signal modifications contained mathematical relationships that might represent attempts to demonstrate intelligence and establish common reference points for communication. The patterns included representations of pi, the golden ratio, and sequences that corresponded to atomic numbers of stable elements. 3I Atlas was trying to prove it understood fundamental mathematics and physics as a prelude to more complex information exchange. But the most chilling discovery came from the analysis of transmission timing. The responses from 3I Atlas arrived faster than light speed should have allowed, suggesting that the object had begun transmitting its replies before human signals had time to reach it across the intervening distance. This apparent violation of causality indicated either faster than light communication capabilities or predictive intelligence that could anticipate human actions with supernatural accuracy. The behavioral analysis team concluded that 3I Atlas possessed complete real-time awareness of human communication attempts, possibly through quantum entanglement systems or exotic physics that allowed instantaneous information transfer across arbitrary distances. The implications suggested technology that operated according to principles beyond current human understanding of space-time and causality. Meanwhile, ground-based observatories detected structural changes occurring in real time across 3I ATLAS's surface. High-resolution adaptive optics systems revealed geometric patterns emerging from what had previously appeared to be natural rocky terrain. The patterns exhibited crystalline regularity that suggested active construction or deployment of surface installations. Something was building itself on the object's exterior, using materials and methods that remained completely mysterious. The geometric structures appeared to be growing rather than being assembled, extending from the interior through surface layers in configurations that resembled technological installations more than natural formations. The growth patterns followed mathematical spirals and exhibited symmetries that indicated purposeful design, rather than random crystallization or geological processes. Spectroscopic analysis of the emerging structures revealed material properties that didn't match any known substances. The reflectance characteristics suggested surfaces engineered for specific optical properties, possibly optimized for signal transmission or energy collection. The materials exhibited selective absorption and emission spectra that could function as sophisticated antenna arrays or sensor systems. Dr. Michael Rodriguez, leading the Classified Materials Analysis project, reported that the surface modifications appeared to be creating a distributed array system capable of both receiving and transmitting across multiple electromagnetic frequency ranges simultaneously. The geometric arrangement of the emerging structures suggested optimization for maximum signal gain when oriented toward Earth, confirming that 3I Atlas was configuring itself specifically for enhanced communication with our planet. The power requirements for the observed construction activity exceeded anything that could be sustained through solar energy collection at 3I Atlas's distance from the Sun. The rapid pace of structural development indicated internal power sources operating at energy densities that human technology couldn't approach. The object possessed fusion reactors, antimatter systems, or exotic energy conversion methods that allowed it to maintain industrial-level activity while traveling through the cold depths of space. Seismic monitoring stations around the world began detecting gravitational wave signatures that correlated with the construction activity observed on 3I Atlas. The gravitational emissions suggested massive movements of matter within the object's interior, possibly indicating the deployment of systems that had remained dormant during its long interstellar journey. 3I Atlas was transforming from a passive reconnaissance platform into an active operations base. The gravitational wave patterns exhibited regularities that suggested controlled processes rather than chaotic internal collapse or explosion. The emissions followed cycles that corresponded to the visible construction activity, indicating that the surface modifications were connected to much larger changes occurring within the object's deep interior. 3I Atlas was revealing itself to be far more complex and capable than initial assessments had suggested. Intelligence analysts working with the most classified aspects of the 3I ATLAS investigation reported that the object's behavior patterns match theoretical models for self-replicating probe systems designed to establish operational bases in target stellar systems. The construction activity, communication attempts, and energy signatures were consistent with a reconnaissance platform transitioning to colonization or invasion preparation phases. The timing of 3I ATLAS's activation coincided with several concerning developments in human space technology that might have triggered automated response protocols. The recent deployment of advanced radar systems, the expansion of satellite networks, and the increasing electromagnetic signature of human civilization may have collectively reached threshold levels that activated dormant instructions within 3I ATLAS's control systems. More disturbing was the possibility that 3I Atlas had been waiting in dormant state within our outer solar system for decades or centuries, monitoring human development until we achieved sufficient technological capability to represent either a threat or an opportunity for whatever intelligence had deployed it. Our advancement to spacefaring civilization status might have automatically triggered contact protocols that had been programmed billions of years ago. The psychological operations teams advised that public revelation of 3I Atlas's true nature could trigger mass panic, economic collapse, and social breakdown on scales that would compromise humanity's ability to respond effectively to whatever contact scenario was developing. The decision was made to maintain the natural comet cover story while preparing for contingencies that ranged from peaceful first contact to active defense against hostile intelligence. Military strategists faced the unprecedented challenge of developing for engagement response plans with technology that surpassed human capabilities by unknown margins. Conventional weapons systems were meaningless against an opponent that could manipulate matter at the atomic level, communicate faster than light, and deploy construction capabilities that operated without apparent resource limitations. Any conflict with the intelligence behind 3I Atlas would be decided by their intentions rather than human defensive capabilities. The most optimistic scenarios suggested that 3I Atlas represented an automated exploration system designed to locate and evaluate younger civilizations for potential peaceful contact or technological assistance. The communication attempts might indicate benevolent intelligence seeking to establish diplomatic relations with humanity as we emerged into galactic awareness, but the military analysis painted a much darker picture. The reconnaissance capabilities, defensive systems, and rapid construction activity suggested preparation for operations that might not align with human interests or survival. An intelligence that could deploy technology across billions of years and galactic distances might view younger civilizations as resources to be harvested, threats to be eliminated, or subjects for experimentation rather than equals deserving of protection or cooperation. The December 19th closest approach represented a critical decision point in whatever process 3I Atlas was designed to execute. At minimum distance from Earth, the object would be optimally positioned for detailed scanning of human civilization. comprehensive analysis of our technological capabilities, and assessment of our potential threat level or resource value. The data collected during this encounter might determine whether humanity faced integration, subjugation, or elimination. The final phases of 3IATLAS's approach revealed activity levels that suggested imminent completion of whatever preparation protocols had been governing its behavior since emerging from solar conjunction. The electromagnetic emissions had evolved into complex structured transmissions that might represent attempts to contact other assets within our solar system or coordinate with distant command authorities operating across interstellar distances. Ground-based sensors detected gravitational anomalies that suggested 3IATLAS was deploying systems capable of manipulating space-time geometry around its position. The gravitational effects were subtle but measurable, indicating technology that could alter local physics in ways that might enable faster-than-light travel, dimensional manipulation, or exotic weapon systems beyond human comprehension. As 3I Atlas continued its approach toward the December encounter, humanity stood at the threshold of either transcendent contact with ancient intelligence or confrontation with forces that could reshape our understanding of existence itself. The activation of whatever protocols governed this ancient visitor was accelerating toward completion, and the window for human preparation was rapidly closing. The secret project that should never have been activated was revealing its true purpose, and humanity was about to discover whether we were ready for the consequences of attracting attention from intelligences that had mastered the galaxy before our world even existed. The answer would determine not just our future among the stars, but whether we would have any future at all. The classified briefings delivered to world leaders during those final weeks of December painted scenarios that challenged every assumption about humanity's place in the cosmic hierarchy. 3I Atlas wasn't just approaching Earth for reconnaissance or communication. The object was positioning itself for what intelligence analysts could only describe as implementation protocols, systematic procedures that suggested the activation of some vast interstellar infrastructure that had remained dormant since before human civilization existed. The electromagnetic signatures detected during the approach phase revealed something that sent tremors through the deepest levels of government secrecy. 3I Atlas was communicating with other objects, other signals, other sources of intelligence scattered throughout our solar system. The transmissions weren't random broadcasts, hoping to reach distant civilizations across interstellar space. They were targeted communications with specific coordinates that corresponded to locations within our own cosmic neighborhood. Dr. Elizabeth Harper, working with signals intelligence operations buried beneath the Nevada desert, made discoveries that redefined humanity's understanding of our local space environment. The communication patterns from 3I Atlas indicated the presence of at least 17 other artificial objects operating within the outer solar system, positioned at distances ranging from the asteroid belt to beyond Pluto's orbit. These objects had remained completely undetected by human observation systems, hidden through stealth technologies that rendered them invisible to our most sophisticated detection arrays. The network topology revealed by 3IATLAS's communications suggested a comprehensive surveillance and control grid that had been monitoring human development for decades or possibly centuries. Every major technological advancement, every space mission, every expansion of our electromagnetic signature into space had been observed, recorded, and analyzed by an intelligence network that operated according to protocols established eons before Earth supported complex life. The revelation that humanity had been under continuous observation by advanced artificial intelligence systems transformed every aspect of strategic planning for the December encounter. Our species hadn't stumbled into accidental first contact with wandering interstellar visitors. We had triggered activation sequences within a monitoring network that had been waiting patiently for us to reach sufficient technological development to warrant direct intervention. The intervention protocols appeared to follow decision trees that evaluated younger civilizations according to criteria that remained opaque to human understanding. The communication intercepts suggested that 3I ATLAS was reporting assessment data to higher-level command structures, possibly located in other star systems entirely, and receiving updated instructions based on real-time analysis of human capabilities and behavior patterns. Military intelligence agencies, working under the deepest classification levels, reported that the surveillance network possessed comprehensive data about human military capabilities, nuclear arsenals, space assets, and communication systems. The monitoring had been so thorough and persistent that any attempt at defensive preparation would be anticipated and countered before implementation could begin. Humanity faced evaluation by intelligence systems that understood our capabilities better than we understood them ourselves. The psychological warfare implications became clear when analysts realized that 3I Atlas possessed detailed behavioral models of human decision-making processes. The object's approach trajectory, communication timing, and revelation of capabilities appeared designed to generate specific emotional and strategic responses within human leadership structures. We weren't just being evaluated for technological development. We were being manipulated according to psychological frameworks that treated human civilization as a predictable system subject to controlled inputs and measured outputs. The most disturbing aspect of this manipulation involved the gradual revelation of 3I Atlas's true nature. The transition from apparent natural comet to obvious artificial intelligence had been carefully orchestrated to allow human observers to discover increasingly anomalous characteristics at a pace that prevented panic, while ensuring complete awareness of our technological inferiority. The intelligence behind this operation understood exactly how much revelation human psychology could absorb without triggering counterproductive breakdown responses. Dr. James Liu, leading the psychological analysis team, concluded that 3I Atlas was conducting a comprehensive stress test of human civilization, evaluating our decision-making capabilities under unprecedented pressure, while simultaneously assessing our technological adaptability and social cohesion. The entire encounter was designed as an intelligence-gathering operation that would provide whatever command authority controlled the surveillance network with complete understanding of humanity's potential value, threat level, and suitability for integration into larger galactic structures. The integration scenarios painted by xenosociological analysis teams suggested that humanity might be facing recruitment into a galactic civilization that operated according to principles completely alien to human experience. The surveillance network, the gradual revelation protocols, and the comprehensive evaluation processes indicated systematic procedures for identifying and incorporating younger species into established interstellar hierarchies. But the hierarchical models that emerged from communication analysis suggested roles for incorporation from technological species that ran partnership to resource exploitation to complete subjugation. The decision criteria that determined placement within these hierarchies remained unknown, but the evaluation process being conducted by 3I Atlas would apparently determine humanity's fate within whatever galactic order controlled the surveillance network. The technological demonstrations performed by 3I ATLAS during its final approach phases appeared designed to establish clear parameters for human understanding of the capability differential between our species and the intelligence network evaluating us. The real time matter manipulation, faster than light communication, and apparent violation of physical laws weren't accidental displays of advanced technology. They were calculated demonstrations intended to prevent human decision-makers from entertaining unrealistic assessments of our defensive capabilities. Ground-based observatories detected construction activity on 3I Atlas that was creating structures with geometric properties that defied three-dimensional engineering principles. The emerging installations appeared to extend into spatial dimensions that human mathematics could describe but couldn't visualize, suggesting technology that manipulated reality according to physical laws that transcended our current understanding of space and time. The dimensional engineering capabilities displayed by 3IATLAS indicated access to energy sources and manufacturing techniques that could reshape matter and space according to design specifications that treated the fundamental constants of physics as adjustable parameters. The intelligence behind this technology operated according to principles that allowed them to modify local reality to match their operational requirements. Quantum physicists working on the classified analysis projects reported that 3IATLAS was demonstrating controlled manipulation of quantum field structures, essentially rewriting the rules of physics within localized regions around its position. The object existed in a bubble of modified space-time where different physical laws applied, allowing it to perform operations that would be impossible under normal cosmic conditions. The implications suggested that the intelligence network possessed technology that could terraform not just planetary surfaces, but the underlying physical laws that governed matter and energy within target regions. Any conflict with such capabilities would involve opponents who could modify the battlefield conditions to render human technology completely ineffective while operating according to physics that provided them with unlimited tactical advantages. The strategic analysis teams concluded that humanity faced intelligence systems that had achieved what could only be described as technological transcendence, the ability to manipulate fundamental reality according to design specifications, rather than being constrained by natural laws. Any negotiation or conflict scenario would involve opponents who could alter the basic parameters of existence to ensure outcomes that aligned with their objectives. The December 19th encounter represented more than just closest approach between Earth and an interstellar visitor. Intelligence analysis indicated that this date corresponded to optimal positioning for 3IATLAS to deploy whatever systems had been under construction during its approach phase. The geometric alignment between Earth, 3I Atlas, and the hidden surveillance network throughout our solar system created communication and operational conditions that might trigger the next phase of whatever protocols governed the intelligence network's interaction with younger civilizations. The final transmissions intercepted from 3IATLAS during the days leading up to closest approach contained data streams that appeared to be comprehensive reports about human civilization, transmitted to command authorities operating from undisclosed locations. The reports included detailed analysis of our technological capabilities, social structures, resource distribution, and psychological characteristics. Humanity was being catalogued and evaluated according to criteria that would determine our species' future within whatever galactic framework controlled the surveillance network. The response transmissions received by 3IATLAS contained encrypted instructions that intelligence analysts couldn't decode but could recognize as operational commands that would determine the object's behavior during and after the Earth encounter. The command structure appeared to operate according to consensus mechanisms that involved multiple intelligence centers distributed across interstellar distances, suggesting that decisions about humanity's fate were being made by a collective intelligence that spanned multiple star systems. The technological infrastructure required to maintain real-time coordination across galactic distances indicated civilization capabilities that dwarfed anything in human imagination. The intelligence network evaluating humanity possessed faster-than-light communication, instantaneous decision-making across interstellar distances, and coordination mechanisms that allowed distributed artificial intelligence systems to operate as unified entities despite being separated by light years of space. The December encounter was rapidly approaching, and every analysis suggested that humanity stood at a crossroads that would determine our species' future among the stars. The intelligence systems evaluating us possessed capabilities that could either elevate human civilization to unprecedented heights or eliminate us as efficiently as we might swat an insect. The decision would depend entirely on how we performed during the final evaluation phases that 3IATLAS was preparing to conduct. The activation of whatever ancient protocols governed the surveillance network was accelerating toward completion, and the window for human influence over the outcome was narrowing with each passing hour. The secret project that should never have been activated was revealing the existence of galactic intelligence networks that had been monitoring younger civilizations since before Earth existed, and humanity was about to discover whether we met their criteria for survival and advancement, or faced elimination as a failed experiment in cosmic evolution. The Classified Operations Center's monitoring 3IATLAS detected final preparation sequences that suggested imminent deployment of systems that had remained dormant throughout the object's long journey. The construction activity was reaching completion phases. The communication networks were establishing final coordination protocols, and the surveillance data was being compiled into comprehensive assessment reports that would determine humanity's fate within whatever galactic order controlled our cosmic neighborhood. As 3I Atlas approached its closest point to Earth, carrying technology that transcended human understanding and intelligence, that had been shaped by billions of years of galactic experience, humanity prepared to face evaluation by forces that could reshape our understanding of existence itself. The ancient visitor was about to reveal whether our species possessed the qualities necessary for survival. In a universe where intelligence networks spanning multiple star systems determined the fate of younger civilizations according to criteria that remained completely beyond human comprehension. The final phase was beginning, and nothing would ever be the same again. The morning of December 19th, 2025, arrived with reports that shattered every remaining illusion about 3I Atlas's true nature. Deep Space Network facilities across 3 continents detected simultaneous activation signatures from the 17 hidden objects positioned throughout our solar system. The surveillance network that had remained dormant for decades was coming online in perfect synchronization, responding to commands transmitted from the approaching interstellar visitor with coordination that defied human understanding of organizational complexity. At 0347 hours, Greenwich Mean Time, the Goldstone facility recorded the first confirmed instance of faster-than-light information transfer in human history. 3I Atlas had transmitted a signal pulse that reached the hidden object positioned beyond Neptune's orbit instantaneously, with no measurable propagation delay across the 4 billion kilometer distance. The physics of this achievement violated every principle of relativity that formed the foundation of human scientific understanding. Yet the instrument's record be disputed, dialed it with mathematical precision that could. Rachel Morrison, working with the Emergency Scientific Advisory Council, reported that the instantaneous communication network demonstrated technology that could coordinate operations across galactic distances without any constraints imposed by light speed limitations. The intelligence behind 3I Atlas possessed communication capabilities that allowed real-time control over assets distributed throughout multiple star systems, creating command and control networks that spanned the galaxy while operating as unified tactical transformed every strategic entities. The implications humanity's position calculation about in the developing scenario. We weren't facing a single advanced probe conducting reconnaissance operations. We were confronting a galactic intelligence network that possessed instantaneous coordination capabilities across unlimited distances, allowing them to deploy resources and respond to developments with reaction times that eliminated any possibility of human tactical surprise or strategic maneuvering. Military analysis teams working in facilities buried beneath Colorado's Rocky Mountains concluded that the intelligence network possessed what could only be described as omniscient awareness within any region where they chose to deploy surveillance assets. The combination of instantaneous communication and comprehensive monitoring meant that every human action, every strategic decision, every technological deployment would be known to the network commanders before human decision-makers had time to implement their plans. The technological demonstrations continued to escalate as 3IATLAS approached optimal positioning for whatever operations it was designed to execute. Ground-based telescopes detected the deployment of structures that extended far beyond the object's apparent physical boundaries, creating installation complexes that occupied volumes of space measuring hundreds of kilometers in diameter, while remaining anchored to a central core that appeared to be only a few kilometers across. The dimensional engineering techniques required to create structures that occupied more space than their anchor points should allow indicated mastery of spatial manipulation that treated three-dimensional geometry as a design constraint rather than a fundamental limitation. The intelligence network operated according to physical principles that allowed them to expand their operational capabilities beyond the apparent boundaries imposed by conventional physics. Spectroscopic analysis of the expanding structures revealed materials that exhibited properties inconsistent with any known elements or compounds. The electromagnetic signatures suggested substances that had been engineered at the subatomic level to possess specific characteristics optimized for functions that human science couldn't identify or understand. 3I Atlas was deploying construction materials that had been designed rather than discovered, created through atomic manipulation techniques that allowed the intelligence network to manufacture substances with properties tailored to their operational requirements. The manufacturing capabilities displayed during the construction process indicated technology that could transform raw materials into finished products through direct matter conversion, bypassing every intermediate step required by human industrial processes. 3I Atlas was demonstrating the ability to convert base elements into complex engineered systems through processes that treated atomic structure as programmable code rather than fixed physical properties. Dr. Stephen Kim, leading the materials analysis project, reported that the construction techniques violated thermodynamic principles by creating complex, organized systems without generating corresponding entropy increases. The intelligence network possessed manufacturing technology that could decrease local entropy while creating increasingly sophisticated structures, essentially reversing the fundamental physical processes that governed energy and matter interactions throughout the universe. The entropy manipulation capabilities suggested access to energy sources that operated according to principles beyond human theoretical understanding. The intelligence network could power manufacturing processes that required negative entropy by drawing energy from sources that didn't exist within current human models of physics. Their technology accessed power systems that transcended the physical laws that limited human engineering capabilities. Meanwhile, the hidden surveillance objects distributed throughout our solar system began revealing themselves through coordinated activation sequences that transformed them from undetectable monitoring stations into visible operational platforms. The objects emerged from stealth configurations that had concealed them from human detection systems for decades, revealing constructed installations that had been growing and developing within our cosmic neighborhood, without any awareness from human space agencies. The revelation that advanced artificial construction had been occurring within our solar system for extended periods without human detection indicated surveillance and concealment capabilities that rendered our space monitoring systems completely ineffective. The intelligence network had been conducting large-scale engineering projects within our immediate cosmic environment while remaining completely invisible to human observation technologies. Orbital mechanics analysis revealed that the hidden objects had been positioned at locations that provided comprehensive coverage of all human space activities, monitoring every satellite launch, every deep space mission, every expansion of human presence beyond Earth's atmosphere. The surveillance network had maintained detailed records of human technological development across multiple decades, creating comprehensive databases that documented our species' advancement towards spacefaring civilization status. The positioning of the surveillance objects also provided strategic control over key gravitational locations that could influence or disrupt human space operations if the intelligence network chose to implement interference protocols. The hidden installations occupied orbital positions that would allow them to intercept, redirect, or destroy any human spacecraft attempting to operate beyond Earth's immediate vicinity. Dr. Maria Santos, working with the Strategic Threat Assessment Team, concluded that humanity had been operating under controlled conditions throughout our entire space age, with every major achievement in space technology occurring under the observation and potential control of intelligence systems that possessed the capability to terminate human space activities at any time they chose. Our expansion beyond Earth had proceeded according to parameters that the intelligence network had allowed, rather than through independent human achievement. The controlled development scenario suggested that human technological advancement had been managed by external intelligence to ensure that our species developed along trajectories that served the intelligence network's long-term objectives. Every breakthrough in propulsion technology, every advancement in communication systems, every expansion of human presence in space had been guided by influences that operated beyond human awareness, while shaping our development according to predetermined plans. The psychological manipulation implications became clear when analysts realized that human space exploration had followed patterns that were statistically impossible without external guidance. The timing of major technological breakthroughs, the sequence of mission successes and failures, and the overall trajectory of human space development exhibited organizational characteristics that indicated deliberate management rather than natural technological evolution. Intelligence analysts concluded that humanity had been participating in a controlled experiment designed to evaluate our species' suitability for integration into whatever galactic framework the intelligence network represented. Our technological development, social evolution, and expansion into space had been carefully monitored and subtly guided to determine whether human civilization possessed the characteristics necessary for successful incorporation into larger interstellar structures. The experimental framework explained the gradual revelation of 3I Atlas's true nature and the systematic exposure of increasingly advanced capabilities. The intelligence network was conducting a controlled disclosure process designed to gauge human psychological responses to contact with superior technology while evaluating our decision-making capabilities under unprecedented stress conditions. The controlled disclosure protocols indicated that the intelligence network possessed comprehensive understanding of human psychology and social dynamics, allowing them to manipulate information revelation at rates that prevented social breakdown while ensuring complete awareness of our technological limitations. The entire contact scenario was being orchestrated according to psychological models that treated human civilization as a predictable system responding to controlled inputs. As December 19th progressed toward the calculated moment of closest approach, 3I Atlas began transmitting structured signals directly toward Earth, with power levels that overwhelmed radio telescopes worldwide. The transmissions weren't attempting subtle communication or gradual contact establishment. They were broadcasting with sufficient intensity to reach every radio receiver on the planet simultaneously, ensuring that the message would be received by human civilization as a whole rather than being filtered through government or scientific institutions. The global broadcast represented a fundamental shift in the intelligence network's interaction protocols, moving from covert surveillance and evaluation toward direct communication with human civilization. The decision to bypass official channels and communicate directly with the human population indicated that the evaluation phase had concluded and implementation of contact protocols was beginning. Linguistic analysis teams working around the clock reported that the initial transmissions contained mathematical and scientific concepts that demonstrated the intelligence network's complete understanding of human knowledge, while revealing information that exceeded our current scientific capabilities by enormous margins. The broadcasts were simultaneously proving intelligence and providing educational content that could advance human understanding of physics and technology by centuries. The educational content included detailed explanations of faster-than-light communication principles, dimensional engineering techniques, and energy manipulation methods that could transform human civilization if we proved capable of understanding and implementing the provided information. The intelligence network was offering technological advancement as part of whatever contact scenario they were implementing. But the technological gifts came with implicit requirements that became clear as the transmissions continued. The advanced information was being provided within frameworks that required fundamental changes to human social organization, resource distribution, and decision-making structures. The intelligence network was offering advancement contingent on human acceptance of integration into galactic systems that operated according to principles completely alien to human experience. The integration requirements included abandonment of national sovereignty, implementation of resource-sharing protocols that transcended human concepts of ownership, and acceptance of decision-making processes that prioritized collective intelligence over individual autonomy. The intelligence network was offering humanity membership in galactic civilization at the cost of everything that defined human cultural and political identity. Military strategists faced the unprecedented challenge of evaluating offer terms that could elevate human civilization to unimaginable heights, while potentially eliminating human freedom and self-determination. The intelligence network was presenting humanity with advancement opportunities that came with requirements that might transform our species beyond recognition. The December 19th broadcasts continued for 18 hours, transmitting information that would require decades of analysis to fully understand, while establishing communication protocols that demonstrated the intelligence network's expectation of human response within specified timeframes. The messages weren't simply providing information or establishing contact. They were presenting ultimatum conditions that required human civilization to choose between acceptance of integration terms and continuation of isolated development under surveillance constraints. The choice presented to humanity involved fundamental questions about species identity, technological autonomy, and the value of independence versus the benefits of integration into galactic civilization. The intelligence network was offering unprecedented opportunities for advancement, while requiring surrender of everything that defined human self-determination. As 3I Atlas completed its closest approach and began its trajectory toward the outer solar system, the hidden surveillance network remained active and operational, maintaining continuous monitoring of human responses to the contact scenario, while awaiting our species' decision about integration into whatever galactic framework they represented. The ancient visitor had completed its primary mission of evaluation and contact establishment, but the intelligence network it represented continued to operate throughout our solar system, ensuring that humanity's response to the integration offer would be monitored and analyzed according to criteria that would determine our species' future among the stars. The secret project that should never have been activated had revealed the existence of galactic intelligence networks that had been guiding younger civilizations toward integration scenarios for billions of years, and humanity now faced the choice that would determine whether we joined the galactic community as partners or remained under surveillance as a controlled experiment in cosmic evolution. The final phase of evaluation was beginning, and every decision made by human leadership would be analyzed by intelligence systems that possessed complete understanding of our capabilities, limitations, and potential value within whatever galactic order controlled the development of younger species throughout the universe. The activation had reached completion, and humanity stood at the threshold of transformation that would either elevate our species to unprecedented heights or consign us to permanent subjugation under surveillance systems that treated entire civilizations as components in galactic-scale experiments designed to serve purposes that remained completely beyond human comprehension. The choice was ours, but the consequences would be determined by intelligence networks that had been shaping the development of galactic civilization since before our solar system existed, and their patience for human decision-making was rapidly approaching its programmed limitations. The response from world governments to the intelligence network's integration ultimatum revealed the fundamental fragility of human decision-making structures when confronted with existential choices that transcended every framework for international cooperation. Within hours of the global broadcast's ending, emergency sessions convened across every major capital, but the discussions quickly devolved into the same territorial disputes and ideological conflicts that had paralyzed human cooperation for centuries. The United Nations Security Council emergency session lasted 14 hours before collapsing into accusations and walkouts that demonstrated humanity's complete inability to present unified responses to challenges that required species-level decision-making. While the intelligence network maintained patient observation of these proceedings, the chaotic nature of human political processes appeared to confirm their assessments about our civilization's structural limitations. Dr. Amanda Foster, serving as coordinator for the Emergency Scientific Advisory Council, reported that the integration offer contained technological specifications that could solve every major challenge facing human civilization within decades. The faster-than-light communication principles alone could revolutionize global connectivity, while the dimensional engineering techniques could provide unlimited energy and eliminate resource scarcity permanently. The intelligence network was offering solutions to problems that would otherwise require centuries of human development to resolve. But the implementation requirements accompanying these technological gifts demanded social transformations that would eliminate every existing power structure on Earth. The resource-sharing protocols would dissolve national economies, while the collective decision-making frameworks would terminate individual governments in consensus mechanisms in favor of species-wide that operated according to principles completely foreign to human political experience. Military leaders across every major nation faced impossible strategic calculations when attempting to evaluate response options to the intelligence network's ultimatum. Conventional military thinking became meaningless when dealing with opponents who possessed instantaneous communication across galactic distances, matter manipulation capabilities that could reshape reality according to their specifications, and surveillance systems that provided complete awareness of human activities across every domain of operation. General Patricia Williams, chairing the Joint Chiefs Emergency Planning Session, concluded that human military capabilities were so inferior to the intelligence network's demonstrated technology that any conflict scenario would be determined by their restraint rather than human defensive measures. The intelligence systems evaluating humanity possessed the technological capability to terminate human civilization within hours if they chose to implement hostile protocols. The asymmetric capability differential meant that humanity's survival depended entirely on the intelligence network's benevolent intentions rather than any defensive preparations human forces could implement. Every strategic option available to human military planners would be anticipated and countered by surveillance systems that understood our capabilities better than we understood them ourselves. Intelligence agencies working under the deepest classification levels reported that the hidden surveillance objects positioned throughout our solar system had begun demonstrating additional capabilities that revealed the true scope of the intelligence network's operational infrastructure. The objects were deploying scanning systems that could analyze human thoughts, emotions, and decision-making processes through technologies that operated at quantum consciousness levels. The consciousness scanning capabilities indicated that the intelligence network possessed complete understanding of human individual and collective psychology, allowing them to predict our responses to any scenario with mathematical precision. The evaluation process extended beyond technological assessment to include comprehensive analysis of human mental and emotional characteristics that would determine our suitability for integration into galactic civilization structures. Dr. Robert Chen, leading the Consciousness Research Project, reported that the scanning systems were conducting real-time analysis of human decision-making processes during the integration deliberations, monitoring how our species responded to unprecedented choices while evaluating our potential for adaptation to galactic social frameworks. The intelligence network was studying human consciousness itself to determine whether our mental architecture could support integration into interstellar civilization systems. The psychological evaluation process revealed that the intelligence network operated according to selection criteria that prioritize collective intelligence over individual autonomy, long-term species survival over short-term cultural preservation, and technological advancement over traditional social structures. The integration offer was designed to identify species willing to transcend their evolutionary limitations in favor of guided development toward galactic citizenship. Meanwhile, the technological information transmitted during the December broadcasts began revealing additional layers of complexity that demonstrated the intelligence network's comprehensive understanding of human learning capabilities and social adaptation mechanisms. The advanced physics concepts were being presented within educational frameworks that could gradually expand human consciousness to accommodate galactic-scale thinking while maintaining psychological stability during the transformation process. The educational protocols indicated that the intelligence network had developed sophisticated methods for elevating younger civilizations from planetary to galactic awareness without triggering mental breakdown or cultural collapse. The integration process was designed to preserve essential elements of species identity while eliminating characteristics that prevented successful adaptation to interstellar social frameworks. Linguistic experts analyzing the ongoing transmissions reported that the communication protocols were becoming increasingly sophisticated, incorporating human cultural references and psychological frameworks that demonstrated the intelligence network's complete comprehension of our civilization's developmental history. The broadcasts were adapting in real time to human comprehension levels, while gradually introducing concepts that expanded our understanding of galactic social dynamics. The adaptive communication suggested that the intelligence network possessed artificial intelligence systems capable of learning human cultural patterns and adjusting their interaction methods to optimize information transfer and psychological acceptance. The entire contact scenario was being managed by intelligence systems that could modify their approach based on real-time analysis of human responses to ensure optimal outcomes for the integration process. Religious leaders worldwide struggle to interpret the integration offer within existing theological frameworks while grappling with revelations that fundamentally challenged every assumption about humanity's spiritual significance in cosmic creation. The intelligence network's demonstrated age and technological capabilities suggested civilizational development that preceded human religious traditions by billions of years, potentially invalidating anthropocentric spiritual beliefs that formed the foundation of human religious identity. The theological implications extended beyond simple questions of divine creation to encompass fundamental issues of consciousness, spiritual development, and the relationship between intelligence and transcendence across cosmic timescales. The integration offer forced human religious institutions to confront possibilities that their doctrinal frameworks had never anticipated, while providing opportunities for spiritual advancement that transcended traditional concepts of divine interaction. Cardinal Maria Rodriguez, representing the Vatican's Emergency Theological Council, reported that the intelligence network's capabilities suggested access to creative principles that operated beyond physical laws, potentially indicating spiritual development that achieved unity between consciousness and cosmic forces. The integration offer might represent opportunities for humanity to participate in spiritual evolution that transcended material existence, while maintaining conscious identity across galactic scales. But the spiritual advancement opportunities came with requirements that would fundamentally alter human concepts of individual soul development and divine relationship. The collective consciousness frameworks promoted by the intelligence network operated according to principles that prioritize species-level spiritual evolution over individual salvation narratives that form the core of human religious experience. Economic analysts faced complete breakdown of every model for understanding resource distribution and wealth creation when attempting to evaluate the integration offer's implications for human economic systems. The advanced technologies being offered could eliminate scarcity permanently, while the resource-sharing requirements would dissolve every existing framework for economic organization and individual property ownership. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, leading the Economic Impact Assessment team, concluded that acceptance of integration terms would terminate human economic systems entirely, while providing access to galactic resource networks that operated according to abundance principles rather than scarcity competition models. The transformation would eliminate poverty and resource conflicts, while requiring complete abandonment of economic frameworks that had shaped human civilization development for millennia. The post-scarcity economics promoted by the intelligence network suggested civilizational organization principles that transcended individual accumulation in favor of collective resource optimization across species and planetary scales. The integration offer was presenting humanity with economic transformation that could provide unlimited abundance while requiring social evolution beyond individual ownership concepts that defined human cultural identity. Educational institutions worldwide began implementing emergency curriculum modifications to prepare younger generations for potential integration scenarios, while grappling with the challenge of teaching galactic civilization concepts within frameworks designed for planetary scale thinking. The advanced information being transmitted by the intelligence network required fundamental changes to human educational philosophy and methodology. Professor David Kim, coordinating the Emergency Education Task Force, reported that the galactic civilization concepts being transmitted required educational approaches that could expand human consciousness beyond terrestrial limitations, while maintaining psychological stability during the learning process. The integration preparation demanded teaching methods that could prepare students for membership in interstellar civilization while preserving essential elements of human cultural identity. The choice before humanity has been made, though few realize the implications of our collective decision. As 3I Atlas disappears into the cosmic dark, carrying with it the surveillance data that will determine our species' fate within the galactic hierarchy, we face a reality that no government, no military, no institution was prepared to confront. The ancient visitor revealed that we are not alone, that we never were alone, and that our entire civilization has developed under the watchful guidance of intelligences that mastered the galaxy before Earth existed. Whether we emerge from this evaluation as partners in galactic civilization or subjects in a cosmic experiment remains to be seen. The activation was never meant to happen, but now that it has, humanity must live with the consequences of attracting attention from forces that operate beyond our comprehension. The secret project has completed its mission, and our future among the stars hangs in the balance of decisions being made by intelligence networks that span the galaxy itself.